Have you ever felt overwhelmed by things beyond your control? Have you noticed how stress and anxiety can build up when facing something we can't change? What if the key to peace lies in how we react, not in what happens around us? In daily life, we often find ourselves caught up in situations that make us anxious, frustrated, or even angry. But is all of this really dependent on what's happening around us, or on how we choose to handle it? Is it possible to find peace, even in a chaotic world? The first lesson of Stoicism is simple but powerful. There are things we can control and things we cannot. What we can control is our reaction to circumstances. We can choose our response to life's challenges. What is beyond our control, like other people's actions or unexpected events, should not disturb us. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "Beware, what is in our power is our own will." In other words, true power lies not in the world around us, but in our minds, in our ability to decide how to react. When we focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions, we gain the freedom not to be enslaved by external events. How many times have you stressed out or become irritated over something you couldn't change? This happens because we spend energy trying to control the uncontrollable. But if we learn to distinguish what is within our reach, we begin to live more balanced and peaceful lives. For the Stoics, virtue is the greatest good. Regardless of external difficulties, we must focus on being just, courageous, wise, and temperate. No matter what happens around us, our virtue, our character, is something we can always control. Even in adversity, our ethics and values should remain steadfast. Seneca reminds us, "Virtue is the only good. Everything else is indifferent." This means true wealth does not lie in material things, but in our ability to live according to our highest principles, seeking goodness, courage, and wisdom, regardless of circumstances. Living a virtuous life is more valuable than accumulating material possessions, because virtue is the only good that accompanies us through all moments. Imagine facing a difficult day at work. Things aren't going as planned, you have tight deadlines, and on top of that, a colleague is behaving inconveniently. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, Stoic philosophy teaches us to remain calm and act with dignity, seeking wisdom in action. Rather than arguing or letting it affect you, you can try to understand the reason behind the other person's behavior and focus on what's within your control, performing your tasks with excellence. Now, you might ask, but how can I actually apply this in my daily life? An essential skill that the Stoics teach us is ataraxia, or imperturbability. Imperturbability is the ability to remain calm and balanced, no matter what happens around us. True peace doesn't come from controlling the world, but from controlling our reactions to it. This means that, although we cannot control external situations, we can choose how to respond to them. As Epictetus wisely said, "Happiness and freedom begin with the understanding that some things are beyond our control." This realization brings a sense of relief, because it's no longer our responsibility to control the uncontrollable. Instead, we can focus our energy on what truly depends on us, our mind, our feelings, and our attitudes. When was the last time you felt something was out of your control, and instead of fighting against it, you calmly accepted the situation? How did that affect your well-being? Picture yourself dealing with a problem at work or in your personal life. What Stoicism teaches us is that instead of reacting impulsively with anger or frustration, we can choose to respond with calm and clarity. True strength comes from knowing what is within our power and acting wisely and virtuously. The mind is the key to our experience of the world. By changing how we think about a situation, we change our experience of it. For example, if you have an important meeting, instead of fearing what others will think or how you'll be judged, you can choose to see this situation as an opportunity for growth and learning. When we shift our perspective, we might discover that challenging situations are easier to handle than we imagined. As Marcus Aurelius, one of the most influential Stoic emperors, said, "The mind that is free from passions is capable of seeing things as they truly are." This means that by keeping our minds serene and impartial, we can see situations more clearly, without distortions caused by intense emotions. If we can cultivate this freedom from passions, our minds will be more at peace, allowing us to make more balanced decisions. Another important principle of Stoicism is the acceptance of impermanence. Everything in life is temporary, including our difficulties. There is no permanent suffering. Accepting that challenges are transient can help us avoid unnecessary suffering. When we begin to see obstacles as part of the journey, we can better deal with them. As Seneca stated, "What is not permanent is trivial." This reminds us that life is fleeting and that suffering will also pass. With this in mind, we can adopt a more tranquil perspective, focusing on accepting what is beyond our control. Everything, whether good or bad, is temporary. And learning to accept this truth makes us more resilient and prepared for change. Memento mori. Remember death. Stoicism teaches us to reflect on our mortality, on the fact that life is short, so that we can live with more purpose and gratitude. This reflection isn't meant to sadden or distress us, but to encourage us to make the most of every moment with wisdom. Stoicism invites us to live intentionally, knowing that our time here is limited and should therefore be spent wisely. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "Do not be deceived by life, for it is short and should be lived wisely." When we understand that life is finite, we become more careful about how we use our time and energy, focusing on what truly matters. This reminds us of the importance of each moment and encourages us to cherish the simple things in life, like time with family, continuous learning, and cultivating healthy relationships. Stoicism also teaches us that adversity is an opportunity to strengthen our character. Instead of seeing obstacles as barriers, we should view them as the path to our evolution. Challenges should not weaken us, but rather make us stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling what life presents. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The obstacle is the way." Every challenge is a chance to practice virtue, improve our emotional resilience, and grow wiser. The more difficulties we overcome, the stronger we become. And in the end, we can look back and see how much we've grown through the adversities we've faced. Did you enjoy this video? Subscribe to the channel for more lessons on Stoicism and begin applying this transformative philosophy in your life. Remember, true freedom begins with our minds and the choices we make every day.